Hey guys, we took a little bit of a nap. We got Flavio in tow. I didn't really mention that. We kind of need to drag this guy around. Mini Mr. Mini, let's do it. Okay, so I hope you guys all had a good weekend. Because it's time for me to pick up where I left off in the last conversation, where I was talking about how ranking the partners in their offensive use. I don't really know if I need to go into Vivian. Because I've already mentioned Vivian is an offensive tank or beast. First off, let's cover a little bit of everything. Oh, he's finally attacking his partner. First off, Vivian attacks pretty much everything. Aside from obviously fire-based enemies and shit like that, Vivian can attack almost... What on earth was Mario doing there? He just went and attacked on the other side. I feel like I've seen that before, but it's been too long since I have. Well, that was interesting. Anyway, yeah. So, let's just start with the fact that, again, Vivian can attack almost everything. It doesn't matter where they are. It doesn't matter what they are. 90% of things Vivian can attack. Spiked enemies, so Pokies and Lava Bubbles. The Lava Bubble family is really so far the only, and Bristles, the only real things I can think of that Vivian can't attack. Aside from, like obviously electrified enemies, so enemies that use a Vulture or get hit by a stage light and get electrified, or Rough Puffs, Dark Puffs, and the other Puff family when they start charging their attacks. That's another thing that she can't attack. Otherwise, Vivian is straight up attacking almost everything for a solid 4 damage if it doesn't have defense and immediately burning it. Or 5 damage when she's at her final level. So already, without anything, Vivian's already a really good offensive partner. And we're not even talking about her other moves. Now, she does have a bit more utility in the form of Veil, which is good for dodging charge attacks, which you don't really see much of in her chapter because Dupless can't charge his attack, but in this chapter you will see it. Veil hides from strong attacks that you do not want to deal with, and Fiery Jinx is obviously just her ace in the hole. Let me just get this. I need the gem. I need your gem, friend. You're not even paying any of us, dumb shit. Alright, before I continue on partners, allow me to introduce to you the absolute longest I ever got stuck in an area. I don't know what it was about me, but I had actually listened to Flavio's little rhyme where he says, 3 times red stash lands on his head, 4 times blue stash is whacked on his belly. And I knew that meant I had to ground pound this guy 3 times, and I had to hit this guy 4 times. However, I don't know what it was about me, but I just couldn't do it correctly. So I was stuck here for a long time until I learned how to look it up. And I think what I was doing wrong was I was using the super hammer to hit this guy when I could have just been using the regular hammer. So what you do here is you got to ground pound on this guy 3 times, and then you've got to hit this guy 4 times. And then that'll open a little compartment here that allows you to put Bobbery in and blow up the entrance. There you go. Anyway, back to Vivian. As I mentioned, Fire Jinxes are ace in the hole. Ballistic damage, burns everything, and it's just, geez, like when you're encountering like 4 or 5 enemies, that's just the go-to move to use. Especially considering it's a fire-based move which deals more to ice-based enemies like Ice Puffs and Frost Piranhas. So it's overall a really good move. Her last move, which I think I've mentioned, is Infatuate, which is a very, very fun move to use, especially when there's a lot of enemies, because if you time it right, it'll confuse everything. Granted, again, confusion so far has not been very beneficial to us, but just the mere idea of having that chance of enemies eating each other, it's just fun. Not common, but it's fun. Speaking of confusing enemies, there's the rune powder I mentioned, I believe, in the Pit of 100 Trials. We won't be using it here because there's not really much we can use it against, but I can tell you right now, we will find a use for this. Next partner, Bobbery. Offensive ace in the hole number 2, I guess? I don't know which one's better. Bobbery and Vivian both have their ace in the hole offensive moves, but they're also a little bit more... I guess they're not straight offense in the same way that Yoshi has all offensive moves, but Bobbery has his 2 offensive moves in the form of Bomb and Bombast, I believe it's called. One thing I didn't mention is that Bobbery also deals extra damage to fire enemies with his bomb moves. So Bomb here does 5 damage instead of 4. Bombast is another offensive move that hits everything for high damage. It eats up FP, so it's not something you really want to use just out of the blue unless you've got max HP and you're dealing with a lot of relatively harsh threats. However, his other 2 moves are a little bit more on the tech side. Let me use one of them, Bomb Squad. You throw 3 ticking time bombs at the enemy, and after a little while, they will go off. The bombs chain reaction, so once one blows up, the others will blow up. I don't think it's going to be enough to reach this guy, so let's take care of him. Should have jumped. Oh, lava bubbles are a little bit stronger than embers, but they have less HP. Ow. Yeah, his other move is called Hold Fast, I believe, and realistically speaking, it's just a spite pouch for him. He counterattacks any direct attack, so I would not call it very useful. Not gonna lie, I rarely ever use it. But again, all things considered, with the bonkers offense that Bobbery has, he really doesn't need it. Another thing Bobbery can do is eliminate fog with his explosions, which we'll see right here, right now. Oh, hell yeah. We got rid of this guy. It did reach. Perfect. We've got some good start points for that. Bobbery needs some attention, though. So, yeah. In terms of their offense, Vivian and Bobbery have very powerful and multi-striking options. But in comparison to some of the others, like, they are still undoubtedly the best offense out of your partners, excluding Yoshi, who needs a little bit of a boost in order to reach that offensive potential. But their massive damage output is kind of what makes them the best offense. And then there's the optional partner that I didn't mention simply because we haven't gotten her yet, Miss Mouse. We've seen her several times in the story already. But Miss Mouse is an optional partner that you get through the Trouble Center, which we will be doing after this chapter. And Mrs. Mouse is a very utility-based partner. She has, I believe, maybe one offensive move, but what makes that offensive move really good is that it pierces defense. Flat 4 damage, it's not strong. I think it does flat 4 damage at max level. So maybe 5, I don't remember, but it's a good offensive move for getting rid of enemies with high defense, especially clefs or wizards, which are late game enemies. But what Miss Mouse is capable of doing is a lot of utility and supportive use. First off, she can steal items that enemies hold, which already is kind of a really good idea, because you can steal badges, because enemies can have badges, which means you can get badges that you normally wouldn't be able to farm very easily. So Mrs. Mouse is a great partner for stealing shit. On top of that, even if the enemy isn't holding something, she can end up stealing a coin, or she has a chance, a small chance, of stealing a potential held item that the enemies could have. So Mrs. Mouse has some good potential as she's a thief. What do you expect? Her other moves are tease, which makes enemies dizzy. So it's not bad, it's really good. It's a matter of whether or not you see the dizzy condition as anything useful. Nah, screw that. Nice. I do not use tease very often. And then her final move is Smooch, which is just straight up, I believe, 10 HP restoration. However, the only reason why I wouldn't consider it the most useful move is because it takes 20 FP to use. At the end of the day, you're swapping out 20 FP for 10 HP, which, on all fronts, I don't think is all that useful. It might get you out of a jam, but if you're in a position where you're using that much FP just to restore HP, you probably should have been using that HP or FP for some more offensive choices. That's just me, though. I'm more of an offensive than a supportive character. So usually I go straight for the offense if I can. But, I feel like it has its uses. I just don't have them myself. But yeah, Mrs. Mouse is a very good utility partner, and I'd argue, based on her optional status, that's kind of what she's supposed to be. A very good supportive partner, because I think none of the other partners really satisfy that position as well. Like, Goombella maybe, but one of her support moves is really only geared towards... out of her 2 support moves, only one of them actually benefits you in a direct battle sense. Bulky bombs. Let's just eat them. This will deal 5 damage to both of them. I can take out the other one. Yeah, I think that's another thing that makes Yoshi a very potent offensive force, is the fact that, while, yeah, his multi-striking moves are kind of immediately just... What's the word I'm looking for? They're immediately mute the moment there's a defense involved. Except his gulp pierces defense. So, that's really good. And yeah, I guess the balance out is easily that it only affects ground enemies, but still, considering there's very little Yoshi's gulp can't attack, it's a very good move. And 4 FP, once you get up there, isn't that bad either. What makes gulp so... again, gulp's just really good because the only thing Yoshi cannot eat are relatively large bosses. Basically, let's call them 3D bosses. Bosses that look more like they are comprised of a full model as opposed to what Mario and Yoshi look like are just a bunch of sprites put together. Oh, I do not need that. That's the first thing I'm going to toss if I need to toss anything. Yeah. Yoshi, I'd wager, he really can easily rival the other 2 in terms of offensive potency. Again, it just takes external forces to get there. Because, all in all, Yoshi can do a lot. The only thing Yoshi can't really do is, again, something that most partners can't do, and that's attack flying enemies with a hazard. Be it floating puffs with that are charging their attacks, or the dreaded spiked Parabuzzy, to say the least. Yoshi covers a lot. Anything that's flying, if it doesn't have a defense, he just immediately grounds. If it's got a shell, like a Paratrooper or a Parabuzzy, well, he grounds it. He won't necessarily damage it while he's grounding it. But that's kind of what Mario's for. Mario's jump does grounding enemies a little better than Yoshi does. Let's be stupid. I'm doing a lot of talking. Let's just be stupid. Maybe a little too stupid. I think another thing worth mentioning As far as I'm concerned, you can't guard those. Those explosions are unguardable. Oh, well, that stupidity was immediately mute by the fact that we got to level up. I'm going to go BP this time. I'm getting a little bit confident with my HP and FP right now. I will definitely upgrade my HP and FP a little bit later, but let's go with BP for now. Oof. Strict landing. Alright. Moving on. Yeah, there's been your 2 episodes of partner description. Hopefully that helps anybody who is interested in this game. Amongst other things, like I'm going into this game assuming that most everybody has either seen a playthrough of it or probably already played it themselves. I'm playing a 2004 game. I do not expect this to, you know, really be a new experience for most people. Here's something I did. Here's something that took me a while to figure out. You can do this. There's a shine sprite up here. And star piece. I don't think we'll get to the end of this chapter in these 6 episodes, considering we already took quite some time just to get here. With preparations and then jungle exploring. I mean, we're kind of, well, we might actually, now that I'm thinking about it. No, we might make it to the boss because I'm already almost done this episode. We only have 2 episodes left after this. And Pirate's Grotto isn't really a short area. Like, Twilight Town, I'd say, is probably a short chapter all in all. Like, it's not a very big area, and though there's a lot of back and forth, you're not really doing all that much in each trip. So, Twilight Town, I think, was just a case of a short chapter. Kia Hall Key is a little bit longer. The back and forth is a little bit longer, considering it's well, no, actually, I'd say Twilight Town is a bit longer, but this one takes a lot of partner swapping between having to use Yoshi to get across that gap, and then using more offensive, like, better choices for the enemies for offense. Where's my dizzy dial? I want to use that. Wow. I'm still going to attack this guy because I don't want him trying to use his item. Good miss. No hit. I'm gonna head bump this guy. We're gonna get rid of this guy real quick. Kind of wish that dizzy dot. I kind of think it's kind of a piss off when you use items that inflict status conditions and it's not even a guarantee, especially for something like dizziness. Like, come on. Dizziness is it's a useful status condition to inflict. It's for a chance that it'll miss. I just think some status conditions should just be guarantees. Sleep, like, or at least most of them in this game, really. Ouch. Parabuzzies are annoying because you can't damage them on the way down. Because their defense is usually too high for you to do anything when you're clipping their wings. I'll fight that last Parabuzzy, and then I'm going to probably call it an episode. Ooh, Fright Man. Oh yeah, I forgot. I think the reason why I'm getting a lot of items from these guys is because I still have the item hog on. Oh, hey. Hey, let's try the Fright Mask. This is something I would not expect to be a one-shot. No, that worked. Unfortunately, you don't get any you don't get the natural star points you would get from them. You just get the one because you're technically not defeating them. But, oh wow, I didn't get anything for that. Oh well, I just kind of really wanted to get rid of that Fright Mask. Because I don't really think I was going to use it for much. Normally, a Fright Mask is just for something if you don't think you could take it on. I'm wholeheartedly confident I could take on this entire game. Yeah, here's a little trick for this in particular area, because you have to duck underneath the spikes. If you hug the wall, Mario comes to immediate stop. If he doesn't, he still kind of rolls a little bit after you let go of the control stick. So that's it. Wall hugging with the tube mode in that particular area, apparently, because it's not seem to be doing it here. Ooh, coins. Why am I so excited over coins? I have a Like over 900 of them. All right. We will see you guys next time. I'm just going to float on this barrel. See you guys then.